going to ask everybody their perspective from the organizations they represent on what are they doing to advance the cause of IIoT convergence. And I'll start with Jose Rivera.
Hi, I'm Jose Rivera. I'm the CEO of the Control System Integrators Association. We're an association of more than 400 system integration companies from around the world and more than 100 vendor partners.
Okay. And Morris?
I'm Morris Wilkins. I'm the VP of Standards for, sorry. Let's get this out. Morris Wilkins, I'm the VP of Standards and Practices for ISA, and I work for Yokogawa.
Okay. Brent?
I'm Brent Jubenville. I'm the CIO of Funnel Cloud. We're a discrete MES.
Okay. Russ?
Yes, I'm Russell Barnes. I work for Siemens Industry, and I manage the SCADA business development for the U.S.
Okay. Kevin?
I'm Kevin McCluskey. I'm co-director of sales engineering with Inductive Automation.
Okay. And to start off the questions, I guess since we'll start with you, Kevin, is again, from your organization's perspective, what do you see from Inductive Automation? How are you advancing the causes of IIoT convergence, beyond what Chris had presented?
Sure. So, in addition to being based on IT standards-based technologies and having a background inside the OT side of the world, right? Having a foundation inside HMIs and SCADA systems. We've also recently, in the last 2 or 3 years, we've had a really big focus on industrial Internet of Things and working with the MQTT protocol, which has made a really big difference for a number of organizations in terms of being able to plug IT systems directly into a data layer. So that's one of the big things that we've done on our organization side. I know we're short on time, so I'll keep it quick.
We'll go to Russ next, from a Siemens perspective.
Yes, from a Siemens perspective.
Keep the mic.
Oh, get the mic.
Yep, right there. It comes out.
Is this better?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, from a Siemens perspective, yes. Unfortunately, thanks to Dale, I guess we have the best kept secret as far as SCADA platform.
That's right.
But one of the things that's really interesting with the whole IT/OT convergence, I've learned a lot in the last couple of years with data management and so forth, and even new programming languages like this thing called R. Anybody heard of R? Okay, so this whole big data thing and learning how IT, this is something that IT has used for years and years to develop and gather information on big data. And so we're implementing things within our SCADA system at the OT layer that, people from IT have been speaking these kind of languages for years. And so it's important that, you have those relationships not only from a relationship standpoint, but also from a technical standpoint as well.
Jose, from what is some of the initiatives at CSIA?
So our association helps system integrators build better companies. So our focus is on the business side of things. And when it comes to IIoT convergence, the big impact is going to be on the business models that the system integrators will see. So today, it's all very centric on projects. I think this will be moving more to subscription. It will be moving more to ongoing services. And so we're trying to help system integrators realize this opportunity that is emerging and prepare for it. We have had focus on the last and this year's conference on those topics with the speakers. We also do webinars, and through a task force, we develop a guide to help system integrators, see and materialize the opportunity.
Right.
I think Melanie hit it on the head. I think when you take things that are traditionally disparate and you're bringing them together, there's a huge human factors issue there. And while you can develop these systems to collect all of this data and do that, and obviously we're a technology company, we do that as well. The one thing that I like to focus on with our company is all of our guys get into the plants and try to understand and interact with the people who are ultimately using your systems and your technology and your product to do their jobs. And that's really our motivation as a vendor and in manufacturing, is how are we going to offer something to our customers to help them do their jobs better. We don't want to shoehorn them into a technology. We want to make sure that we facilitate and improve their jobs.
Okay. And Morris, from the ISA 101 perspective, which I know you're a member of the standards group. Here you go.
Yeah, I think I'd address it from standards in general. You probably see a lot of activity in the smart manufacturing space now, and pretty well most of the standards organizations, IEEE, IEC, ISO, they're all working on it. And it's funny, yesterday I was, one of the Exxon presenters talking about two standards that are really quite old, 61131 and 61499 are getting new life again. So we looked at ISA and said, we've got a role to play in this. So we put a group together, a working group, consisting of members from pretty well every standards committee we've got, to just look at the whole space and say, what standards have we got that fit? What standards have we got that don't fit? Where are the gaps and how can we fill them? So that team became active at the end of last year, meets on a monthly basis, and is going to put some reports and frameworks out.
Okay, great. If we have any questions from the audience, the mic is here if anybody would like to step up. And if, go ahead.
So just a quick question to Chris. So you showed 3,000 slides and 200 clients, which I think is an impressive scale of achievement. And I was wondering about the ROI with the scale. So how soon did you start seeing, when the first 100 suites were built, did you start chalking up ROI, or did you really have to get to a big scale before you recognize the value? Maybe other people comment on parallel situations.
All right. No, we strategically started to look at how we were going to implement parts of the system. And, there's some base that you have to build in order to have information really to use for anything. But once that base was in place, we started targeting areas where maybe we didn't have anything but manual processes for tracking waste or something of that nature, so that as we implemented those, we had immediate impact and we had immediate payback that you could see, because we had a better handle on waste and where were the points that we needed to start looking at more in real time, rather than a month after it occurred and you've wasted material from that spot for another month before you address it. So that's really the way we attacked it, so we could get some immediate benefit. And then of course, as it grows and gets bigger and bigger, then those things just continue to expand.
Okay. Any other questions? One question I always have is, with all the speakers, it's the first time you've seen the other speakers' presentations. Is there anything that you've learned from the other speakers' presentations that you're going to carry back to your own facilities?
Absolutely. I think Melanie summed up how to get IT and OT to talk together better than anybody I have ever
Absolutely.
had. I mean, I sit there and I think, oh, how did I stumble upon this? Because this is how I've managed to go from bad to good relationships with them. Because for years, they just drove me nuts. We wanted to wring each other's necks. And
Don't worry, they drive us nuts.
yeah. And eventually I realized, you know what? Every time I find out what is difficult about somebody else's world, I have a whole lot more compassion for why they are the way they are. I'm like, I want to find out what matters to these people for a change. And then they started to care about what mattered to me. But I just did it. She's got the story of how to do it, so I want to take that back.
Okay. Anybody else want to jump in? Any further audience questions? You could either stay at your seat or go to the mic in the aisle. Well, another question that I have then is to Jose is, what has IIoT Convergence, how has your membership changed as a result of IIoT Convergence, as far as what you offer for the systems integrators, the types of services, even the types of people that are joining the organization?
First, I will say that I have seen change in existing members. So members have set up like a digital group that has been focusing on delivering all the opportunities related to IoT, including simple things, more IT-related things like doing patch-up works on the whole installed base of OT around the world, which is a big change. Normally, system integrators are regional or national companies, and now servicing multinational consumer packaged good companies, they're now forced to deliver all this patch-up work around the world, and so it's a big stretch for them. And then on the side, coming of new members to our association, we have seen a big rise in cybersecurity companies because all of this is totally requiring a much more focused approach on cybersecurity, so that has contributed a lot to the growth of our members in the association.
Okay. And I was asked the same question on ISA, Morris.
I don't know if it's increased the membership, but in setting up this new group, what we're trying to do is attract new members. So we're hoping that more people, I think people tend to not think about ISA as an organization that would do this kind of thing. And we're trying to change the perspective. So hopefully that will bring in new members.
Okay. Another question I have is to the panelists that represent a supplier. Is there anything that you saw from some of the presentations that's affected what some of the new products that you might have some ideas to bring to your organization? I'll start with Kevin.
Sure. I think we learn a lot at every conference that we go to, and every session that we go to. We certainly have a roadmap going into the future that I don't know if this is going to shift the roadmap at all in the current session that we're in, but having a very a feedback loop, right, where we see what customers are doing right now and take that into account with the ease of communicating with some of these other systems is something that is really valuable to us.
Okay, I'll ask Russell.
Yes, from a supplier vendor perspective, one of the things that we've worked very hard on in developing our platform is thinking along those lines, and traditionally for years and years and years, SCADA was always thought about from the OT perspective only, and it was built from the PLC up, right? And so basically every product out there was doing that. And so what we've tried to do within Siemens is we've tried to take a different approach to our development efforts in trying to get this convergence to work better together and kind of developing more from a computer science thought down. And that's really had a lot of impact on, I can't remember which speaker it was, but one of them talked about the millennials versus the baby boomers. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was you, actually. Oh. But anyways, right now, we have like something like 4,000 baby boomers retiring every day. And that's being replaced by not so many millennials, mm-hmm. right?
Yes.
And so having that perspective from a software development standpoint and knowing you have to deal with that is very important in this whole convergence.
Okay, and Brent?
What happened to the Gen Xers? You can always get leapfrogged there.
I know, they always get left out.
Yeah, I think that for us, listening to the speakers, we've had a lot of validation, specifically with hearing the success stories of people and companies who are going through this transformation from a technological standpoint and realize that there needs to be buy-in across the board in order to make projects successful. And specifically in manufacturing and discrete manufacturing, what we've found is that's difficult to achieve. And there are always walls that are put up between certain groups. So in order for us to continue to try to facilitate those conversations as a vendor, notwithstanding the ease of use from a technology standpoint and making sure that we're capturing all the right information, et cetera, but really to get everybody involved and engaged at trying to figure out how they're going to continuously improve. That's something that we'll continue to do as a vendor.
Okay, great. In the interest of time, we'll wrap the session up, but we'll remain behind for a few minutes if you have any individual questions you want to ask us. Please join me on thanking the speakers and panelists for doing a great job. And